This is the Washington Times front page for Wednesday, June 21st, 2023. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. Hunter Biden will likely avoid jail time under a plea bargain after he was charged with federal tax and firearms violations. Dave Boyer and Jeff Murdoch report the president's son will plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor charges of failing to pay federal income tax. As part of the agreement, he won't be prosecuted for felony gun possession as a drug user if he honors the terms of what is expected to be a sentence of 2 years of probation. No evidence indicates that the president has personally interceded on his son's behalf, but the string of favorable outcomes has stoked suspicions that Hunter is receiving preferential treatment. More recent headlines about him stem from his pocketing of millions of dollars from suspicious deals with foreign companies, often in countries where his father was involved in U.S. foreign policy. The race is on to find a small submarine that disappeared in the Atlantic Ocean with 5 people aboard near the wreckage of the Titanic. A Canadian military surveillance aircraft detected underwater noises as a massive operation searched in a remote part of the North Atlantic for the craft. Matt Delaney reports some analysts familiar with the craft and its previous journeys to the Titanic's final resting place pointed out concerns about the oxygen supply in the craft may be moot. They said the crew could likely freeze to death in those depths before rescuers arrive. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce says it's fighting the Federal Trade Commission because the business community is galvanized in opposition to Chairwoman Lena Khan's agenda. Ryan Lovelace reports Khan is under pressure for bypassing ethical obligations, ignoring Congress, and driving away scores of agency employees and all of the FTC's Republican commissioners. More than 120 employees left within 1 year of Khan's confirmation to the FTC, according to the House Energy and Commerce Committee. The committee is one of 3 investigating the agency. Ukraine's widely touted counteroffensive against Russia has produced heavy casualties on both sides and what military analysts say have been small advances for Ukraine on the battlefield. Mike Glenn reports British military intelligence analysts said Russian forces that performed miserably in early battles have been able to fight back and are conducting relatively effective defense operations. Pentagon officials insisted they always knew the mission to push Russia out of Ukraine would not be a complete rout, with Russian forces able to prepare extensive defensive formations in occupied Ukrainian land in the east and the south. The counteroffensive is now in its 3rd week. And finally, charitable giving fell sharply last year, and for the first time this century, less than half of Americans made donations. Mark Kellner reports the annual survey from Giving USA found donations dropped from $516 billion in 2021 to $499 billion in 2022. The 3.4% decline, 10.5% when adjusted for inflation, marked just the 4th time in 4 decades that year-over-year donations fell. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/frontpage or the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in your favorite podcast app. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.